And as we have discussed earlier, the cold clouds are those whose tops are colder than 0 degree centigrade, or the tops rise above the 0 degree isotherm. Okay, they are the cold clouds. We also discussed about the rapid growth of ice particles, rapid growth of ice particles in the heterogeneous nucleus, and when there are foreign particles present in clouds, especially the ice nuclei, the nuclei which are conducive for the freezing of the ice crystals, okay, freezing of the water droplets. That also we discussed. So in the heterogeneous nucleation, as in case of the warm cloud, in the cold cloud also, the growth of the ice particles are faster than compared to the homogeneous nucleation. Okay, homogeneous nucleation, that means only in the presence of water substance in the cloud. Okay, in different forms, it can be in the liquid form or in the frozen form. But in the heterogeneous nucleation, there are foreign particles also. And we discussed that how different uh, ice nuclei are favorable for the growth of the ice crystals that we discussed yesterday. We discussed about the condensation, freezing. We discussed also about what is deposition. Okay, deposition of the ice. Okay, it's just like the sublimation process. You know, in case of sublimation, as you have studied in the atmospheric thermodynamics, there is a direct conversion from the solid to the vapor or vapor to the solid, right? That is the sublimation process. So is the case of the cold cloud, where there is a deposition. That means the water vapor can directly transform into ice particles and vice versa. Deposition. Okay. There are so many terminology or processes which you should all study and remember, like deposition, sedimentation, right? Freezing, condensation, you already know, right? So those kind of terminology, all of you should read and also understand, okay? Uh, the difference between each of those processes, all right? And in the process, we also discussed yesterday about the pre-activated ice nuclei, okay? And non-activated ice nuclei is like active and non-active condensation nuclei for the warm clouds. All right. So in today's class, we are going to talk about the ice multiplication. Okay, ice multiplication. How the ice particles multiply and grow in numbers. Okay, the number concentration of ice particles and ice multiplication inside the clouds. That's what we are going to discuss today. Right. So these things we discussed yesterday. Concentration of ice particles in clouds and ice multiplication. Okay. The probability of ice particles being present in a cloud increases as the temperature decreases below 0 degree centigrade. That is quite obvious, right? All of you know that. Okay, the results shown in this diagram, figure 23, indicate that the probability of ice being present is 100% for cloud top temperature below about 13 degrees centigrade, minus 13 degrees centigrade. Now, in this diagram, as you can see, we have got on the x-axis the cloud top temperature. Okay, this is the cloud top temperature. And on the y-axis, we have got the percentage of cloud containing ice. Okay, and as you can see, the temperature is decreasing towards the right. 0 degree, minus 5, minus 10, minus 15, and so on, up to minus 30 degrees centigrade. So these are the cloud top temperature at the top of the cloud. Okay, minus 30, minus 25, and so on. Versus the percentage of cloud containing the ice. I mean, how much percentage of the clouds having its temperature at the top, say at minus 10, will have the ice. This is what is shown in this diagram. Okay, and you can see that there are blue curve and there is a red curve. Okay, now there are different cloud types. Okay, blue and red indicates continental and maritime cloud types. Okay. Now, as you can see, say for example, at cloud top temperature, say below minus 13 degrees centigrade. See, minus 13, that means so this is 10. Below this temperature, the cloud temperature, ice being present is 100%. Okay, below this temperature, because whether the temperature is at minus 15 or minus 20 or minus 25, whatever, the percentage of the ice being present is almost 100%. That means ice definitely must be present in the clouds whose top temperatures are colder than minus 13 degrees centigrade. So that also implies that there are ice nuclei present in the cloud, because yesterday we discussed that when the water is pure, clean inside the cloud, then for the nucleation to occur, it must be super cooled down to about minus 40, minus 41 degrees centigrade, right? So if the ice particle is present even at minus 13 degrees centigrade, that means there must be cloud ice nuclei present in the clouds. Okay. Now at higher temperatures, okay, the probability of ice being present falls off sharply. See, if you go towards left, higher cloud top temperature, the probability falls sharply, but it is greater if the cloud contains drizzle or raindrops. Okay, again, depends on the content of the cloud, whether the cloud is containing only liquid water, okay, or whether it is containing rainwater, or whether already the drizzles have formed. You know drizzle, right? Have you heard about the drizzle? Have you seen drizzle? Yes or no? Drizzling. You must have heard this drizzling. What is drizzling? You know what is drizzle? Yes or no? Drizzle. Everybody is
Yes,
silent.
sir. Drizzle.
Yeah. Drizzle. That means tiny water droplets. Okay. There is a size. There is a particular size. Tiny water droplets. I think the size of that is about 1 micron. Okay. Drizzle particles or raindrops. So when the drizzle particles and raindrops are present inside the cloud, then the chances of ice even below minus 13 degrees centigrade is higher. Okay. Now in this figure, the blue curve represents continental cumuliform clouds with base temperature from minus 8 to minus 18 degrees centigrade. Okay, this is for the continental cumulus cloud. Okay, containing no drizzle or raindrops prior to the formation of the ice. All right, and the red curve indicates clean maritime cumuliform clouds and clean Arctic stratiform clouds with base temperature minus 25 to minus 3 degrees centigrade, containing drizzle or raindrops prior to the formation of ice. Okay. So in both the clouds, whether it is a continental cumulus cloud or whether it is a maritime cumulus cloud, already there is a presence of drizzle or raindrop inside the cloud before the ice could form. Okay, before the formation of the ice, the drizzle and raindrops were already present. And so, as the temperature drops below minus 13 degrees centigrade, there is a probability of 100% of ice being present, okay, in both the clouds, whether it is a continental cumulus or whether it is a maritime cumulus. You see, this horizontal line and coinciding with each other. Both red and blue curves are coinciding with each other. Okay. Clouds with top temperatures between 0 and minus 8 degrees centigrade, right, generally contain copious supercooled droplets. The temperature is between 0 to minus 8. They got a lot of supercooled water droplets. It is in clouds such as these that aircraft are most likely to encounter severe icing conditions. Okay, since The supercooled droplets
Sir,
freeze when they collide with an aircraft. Okay, this is a very important point, especially for the
sir,
aviation purpose. When you're saying something, somebody?
yes, sir. Sir,
Yes, sir.
Somebody?
Sir,
Albin is
Alvin
trying to
is.
join.
I'm sorry.
Albin is trying to join,
Alvin
sir.
wants to
Can you
join.
let him in?
I'm not able to hear clearly exactly what you're trying to say.
Sir,
Sir,
Who is
Alvin
it?
Albin.
wants to join, sir.
Oh, I see. Alvin wants to join. Alvin, okay. Alvin, okay, fine. So, Alvin, have you joined? Alvin? Alvin, have you joined? Well, I already admitted him, but he's not responding. Probably he's still in the process of joining. Anyway, so we're discussing that now for the civil aviation, when you're flying in an aircraft at a very high altitude, okay, where the outside temperature is say about minus 8 degrees centigrade or so. So at such altitude, at such low temperature, the supercooled water which are present in the air, they can directly freeze on the body of the aircraft. Okay, and that is called the icing, and there are some sort of a hazard to aviation. Okay, if there is a lot of ice formation on the body of the aircraft, what will happen? Now, it will unnecessarily increase the weight of the aircraft, isn't it? It will increase the weight of the aircraft. And so it can be a hazardous because when aircraft takes off from the airport, now it takes off with all the calculations that it has these many passengers having these many weights and these many luggages, all luggage are already weighed, right? So with that uh, proper information, it takes off, and it has got certain threshold limit also. Beyond that, it cannot carry unlimited amount of luggages, right? Unlimited amount weight. So if there is too much of icing on the body of the aircraft, then that can lead to a hazard that can cause accident also, right? So this is sort of a aviation hazard. Okay, aviation hazard when there is too much of ice formation on the body of the aircraft. So of course, nowadays there are many latest techniques available by which they try to coat the body of the aircraft so that there is a less formation or less chance of icing on the body of the aircraft. Okay, so the clouds with top temperature between 0 and minus 8 degrees centigrade generally contain copious supercooled droplets, and it is in these clouds, that the aircraft are most likely to encounter severe icing conditions. Okay, because the supercooled droplets will freeze now as they come or as they collide with an aircraft. Right? Now, in the next figure 24, we show the measurements of the concentration of ice particles inside the cloud. Okay, now this figure shows the measurement of the ice particles. Okay, on the x-axis you have again the cloud top temperature, and on the y-axis you have got the maximum ice particle concentration. Okay, you can just see the number 10 to the power 6 per cubic meter volume, 10 to the power 6 per cubic meter of air. Okay, starting from 10 to the power 1, 10 to the power 2, up to 10 to the power 6 numbers per cubic meter of air. Okay, that is many ice particles and with a different temperature. Okay, cloud top temperature. And here also you can see that two curves. One is the blue line, another is the red line. Okay, so as usual, the blue is for the continental clouds and this is for the maritime cumulus cloud. Okay, blue dots are in matured and aging marine cumulus clouds. So here blue is for marine cumulus cloud and red dots are for the continental cumulus cloud. Okay, it can be seen that on many occasions ice particles are present in concentrations several order of magnitude greater than ice nucleus presents measurements. Okay, people have also measured the number of ice nuclei present in the atmosphere. They have also tried to measure the number of ice particles, okay, ice particles present in the clouds. Actually, we try to utilize aircraft itself to measure the number of ice nuclei as well as the ice particles present in the clouds. Okay, so aircrafts are fitted with the instruments which suck in the cloud air, and then the sample air is brought down at the surface and then counted at how many ice crystals or ice nuclei are present in that cloud air. Okay, that's how we do that. So it can be seen that on many occasions, ice particles are present in concentrations of several order of magnitude greater than ice nuclei present. Okay, at temperatures above minus 20 degrees centigrade, okay, above this minus 20 degrees centigrade, marine clouds, okay, the marine clouds are the blue line. Okay, marine clouds show a particular propensity for ice particle concentrations that are many orders of magnitude greater than the ice nucleus. Okay, at temperatures above about minus 20 degrees centigrade, above this temperature, the marine clouds have more tendency of containing ice particle, okay, concentrations which are several order of magnitude greater than the ice nuclei measurements would suggest. Okay, sometimes the ice particles in cloud increase in number without the action of the ice nuclei. Even if the ice nuclei are not so many, but still the ice particles can increase in the number, okay, which is called the ice multiplication. This phenomena is called the ice multiplication or ice enhancement process. Okay, so what is ice multiplication or ice enhancement? That means even if the number of ice nuclei are not much, but the ice particles are present. That means our ice particles are getting multiplied now automatically inside the cloud. Okay. For example, some ice crystals are quite fragile and may break up when they collide with other ice particles. Okay. However, the strongest contender for an ice enhancement process in clouds is one that involves water droplets freezing. Okay, water, because the water droplets also themselves act as the ice nuclei, and actually that is one of the best form of the ice nuclei, the water droplets. Okay, so sometimes we see that because the ice crystals are quite fragile, they break up inside the cloud, and the broken up particles also act as ice nuclei. Okay, when a supercooled droplet freezes in isolation, that is in free fall, or after it collides with an ice particle, the freezing of the droplets onto an ice particle is called the riming. See, another process, important process. You must know the definition. What is riming? That you must know. Okay. So, riming is a process, okay, by which the supercooled droplets freezes in isolation during the free fall or after it collides with the ice particle. Okay, let's go the riming. The high concentration of ice particles, about 100 per liter or more, the number of ice particles 100 per liter or more, observed in some clouds in the last figure, are associated primarily with the older clouds. Okay, young cumulus clouds or cumulus towers generally consist entirely of water droplets and generally require about 10 minutes before showing signs of plentiful ice particles. Okay, it takes a few minutes, 10 minutes approximately, before more ice particles can form. All right, in the younger cumulus towers, young cumulus towers. It also appears from the measurements in clouds that high ice particle concentration occur after the formation of drops with diameter greater than 25 micron and when rimed ice particles appear. Okay, these observations are consistent with hypothesis that high ice particle concentrations are due to ejection of ice splinters during the riming. Okay, during the process of riming, the ice particles or ice crystals can eject. Okay, ejection of ice splinters, and those ejected ice splinters also act or help in further formation of the large number of ice particles inside the cloud. However, calculations based on the results of laboratory experiments on ice splinter production during riming suggest that this process is too slow to explain the explosive formation of extremely high concentration of ice particles observed in some clouds. Okay, as indicated schematically in the next slide, which we are going to show, an additional super ice enhancement mechanism may sometimes operate. Okay, but the exact nature of this mechanism remains a mystery. Okay, it remains a mystery. So the results suggest that there is an additional super ice enhancement mechanism that may operate inside the cold cloud, but the exact nature of the mechanism is still a mystery. Okay. Now you can see this diagram is a schematic diagram of how the ice enhancement takes place in the cold cloud. Okay, how the ice enhancement takes place in the cold cloud. And what you see in this diagram is that now this is the base of a cumulus tower. See, this is like a cumulus tower, towering cumulus cloud. Okay, now this is the base of the cumulus cloud. Now, where the temperature is ranging from 0 to 11 degrees centigrade. Okay, this is the base, right? And how it is growing with time is shown here also in terms of the minutes. Like in 10 minutes time, the cloud has grown from here to this level. Okay, this is the growth. Okay, in 10 minutes, and after that, in the next 5 minutes, okay, there is a formation of the drops having sizes greater than or equal to 25 micron in diameter. Okay, and the cloud top temperatures have also reduced. Okay, drastically, and they can range from -5 to -20 degrees centigrade. Okay, the cloud tops are about -5 to -20 degrees centigrade. The base is about 0 to 11 degrees centigrade, and in 10 to 15 minutes time, okay, there is a formation of drops of greater than or equal to 25 micron in diameter. Okay, so this is how the ice enhancement takes place in towering cumulus, young cumulus cloud. Now look at this diagram. This is also illustrating the development of the ice microphysics inside the cloud. Okay, and here also say this is the development in 10 minutes, and then this is the development in the next 10 minutes, and this is the development in the next 20 minutes approximately. Okay, and you can see initially the cloud was a very well defined cumulus type cumulonimbus cloud, and with time up to 10 minutes it was like a cumulus congestus cloud rather, and after about 10-15 minutes, okay, 15 minutes or so, the formation of the drops having sizes more than 25 micron have already occurred. Okay, in about 10 minutes time, the drops having sizes more than or equal to 25 micron have occurred. Then in the further next 10 minutes, okay, further next 10 minutes, there is super enhancement of the ice particles, and there is a formation of the anvil. You can see that the anvil formation has now already taken place. Okay, so here the top portion of the cloud will contain small aggregates and single ice crystals but not liquid water. Okay, but not liquid, no liquid water here at this level. Okay, which is about say 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, from the starting time. Okay, now in this part of the cloud, there is intense aggregation. Aggregation is another process. Okay, of ice formation inside the cloud. There is intense aggregation and fallout of ice particles from this part of the cloud. Concentrations of ice particles begin to decline. Okay, the ice concentration begin to decline, and liquid water is depleted because liquid water here is both getting transformed into ice crystals, or also they can fall down as virga. Have you heard about the virga? All of you? Have you heard about the virga? VIRGA,
No,
virga?
sir.
No?
Sir.
Well, yeah, well, different types of precipitation are there, right? There are different types of precipitation. Like one is the rainfall, okay? One is the rainfall that everybody knows, rainfall from the warm clouds, especially in the warm areas, okay? Rainfall. Other is the snowfall, okay? That also you have heard, snowfall, isn't it? Snowfall. Yes or no? Snowfall. In the mountains, in the cold areas, there are snowfalls because the precipitation is falling down from the top of the cold clouds, or their tops are at very low temperature. Okay, that is the snowfall. All right. Then there is a drizzle. Drizzle also, you know. Okay, drizzle. When the raindrops are very, very small in size. When the raindrops are very, very small in size, but yet they are able to fall to the ground, they are the drizzle. Okay. Sometimes it can happen that if the atmosphere is too dry, suppose if the precipitation is falling down from this part of the cloud, okay, this part of the cloud, and as it is falling down, the surrounding air may be dry. Okay, the air in this part may be dry, and so in the dry air, the precipitation which is falling down, say in the form of drizzle or so, which are very, very tiny droplets, can get evaporated because the air is dry here. Okay, and so the precipitation may not be able to reach the ground because they get evaporated before they reach the ground. Okay, generally drizzles are able to reach the ground because they have sufficient size. Okay, their droplet size, the radius of the droplet is sufficient. But sometimes they are even so small, okay, that they are not able to reach the ground. They completely get evaporated in the way, in the dry air. And that precipitation, which appears to be falling down from the top of the cloud, but are not able to reach the ground because it is getting evaporated in the way, that is called the virga. Okay, you understand that now? Virga? Virga. Yes or no? Hmm? Everybody is silent.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So,
Yes, sir.
yeah. So now what you have seen is that how the growth of the ice crystals take place, ice enhancement take place. Now, with time in typical cumulonimbus clouds. This horizontal scale is about 3 kilometers. See, this is the same cloud, continuous cloud. Okay, this is the base, which is about 0 to 11 degrees centigrade, and this is the top. Okay, where the anvil has formed already. A typical cumulonimbus cloud, which is slant, it is not vertical, but it is slant. Okay, now from this part of the cumulonimbus cloud, strong, heavy rainfall is taking place. Okay, and it is able to reach the ground, of course. But from this portion of the cloud, which is the anvil portion, also precipitation is occurring, but it is getting evaporated in the way itself and is not able to reach the ground. Okay, so in the first case, you have got frozen drizzle drops and or small grapple. Grapple is another form of frozen particles. You should know the definition of grapple. Okay, snow, ice. The difference between ice, snow, grapple, hail, etc. Hail everybody knows, right? Because everybody can see some, the hails, the hailstorms, the pellets of hails falling down on the ground. So everybody is almost familiar with the hailstorms. But grapple, you will not be able to see. Okay, people are not familiar with what is grapple. Okay, that is also a frozen particle, uh, which is occurring or existing inside the cloud. And you should know the definitions of those things now. There is a glossary of meteorology. Have you heard about the meteorological glossary? Yes or no? Meteorological
Yes,
glossary.
sir.
Yeah, there is a meteorological glossary published by AMS, the American Meteorological Society, and you can download that. It is available free. Okay, the soft copy you can download, and there you can get the definition of all the meteorological terms, like what is the difference between sedimentation, okay, deposition, aggregation, okay, those things you can get the definitions. You can also get the definitions of what is the difference between grapple, what is the difference between snow, ice, what is snow and what is ice. There are two different things, right? Now, in general terminology, it sounds like, both of them are frozen particles anyway. Whether it is snow or is it ice, both of them are frozen. But there is a physical definition or physical difference between snow and ice, right? So all those things are, you can find the definitions in the glossary of meteorology. If not in any other book, definitely you can find the definitions over there. Okay. So this is the frozen drizzle drops and or a small grapple, isolated single and irregular ice crystals about 0.1 to 20 in number per liter. Okay. Now in this case, where there is super ice enhancement taking place, there is an explosive formation of about 10 to 100 in number per liter of regular and irregular crystals, liquid water content more than 0.5 grams per cubic meter. Okay, grams per cubic meter. So this is a descriptive model. The diagram which you see on the screen is basically a descriptive model to show the enhancement of ice particles, ice enhancement or super ice enhancements in small cumuliform clouds. Okay, that's what it illustrates. Okay, so I think we are going to stop here today because this is again another topic which will take longer time again to complete, about the growth of ice particles in cloud. Further, we will discuss about that, different mechanisms by which the ice crystals grow. So we shall discuss this in the next class. Okay, otherwise it will be late for today. Is that okay? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So we'll discuss about this. So maybe today evening if possible, otherwise tomorrow. All right. I will inform you whenever I'm ready to take the evening class at 6:30 or so. Then I will inform you by WhatsApp. Okay, and be ready for that. At least in the next 2 weeks, because you have to finish the syllabus and also conduct your internal assessment. All right. So be ready for that. And we most likely this weekend also we shall have class, Saturday and Sunday both. Okay, so get ready for that. All right. And still, I think there will be some topics left, which will be a general topics, which I will leave it to you to read by yourself. All right. Like we have been discussing about the cloud seeding, weather modification, etc., artificial rain making, etc. Those things are general topics which you can also understand just by reading yourself. So those things are probably, I will leave it to you for reading yourself because we don't have time to discuss in detail about those things. But the basic physics we shall discuss, whether it is a microphysics of the warm cloud or microphysics of the cold cloud, whether it is atmospheric electricity, etc. Those things we shall discuss in the class. Okay. So I stop here for today. Any question in today's class? Yes or no?
No, sir.
Everybody. Okay, so fine. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen. Okay, and also I see that about 9 students are there now. So all the attendances are made, right?
Yes, sir. Me, Alvin.
Alvin, okay, fine. So we'll see you. So okay, then I'll see you tomorrow or this evening if possible. Okay. I'm going to stop recording.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay.